Welcome to this starship.
Starship.
The ship today is going to take you to a place
Yes.
deep inside, in the middle of your heart.
We hope to bring more awareness into your
Fasten
daily
your
life.
belts.
Fasten your belts. No,
Hold tight. And let's go in this journey.
I'm fashion today.
Hold on.
Fine. Anyway, we got some friends here tonight.
This
we're
is
growing.
Lola.
Our community is growing.
This is Lola, and this is Sheila,
Welcome to our podcast.
named by my daughter.
Yeah, tonight we want to cover a little bit on the collective, I guess, community beliefs, which affects some of them, all of us.
99% of the population.
Obviously nowadays I don't watch news anymore.
Yeah, I don't watch music.
Yeah. But mainly because I found that before is a lot of disasters, right? Fear-based. And without awareness, some of these beliefs we end up bringing to our lives. Not in a way that it couldn't be true or not true, but on a level of feelings, I guess.
Yeah.
Like I would say recently, people were talking, because a lot of companies are selling out or, doing people, like getting people redundant.
Mm-hmm.
And at some side it is true, and then there are also other sides that's not true. But when you get caught up on those fears, you end up like getting all those anxieties, all those feelings that you feed more yourself onto those feelings, which is, for me, it's unnecessary. Like it does not add anything to my life, and obviously I don't know what's gonna happen to me, or we never know what's gonna happen in the future, but let it deal when it comes, right?
I think I'm with you on that. I think that like news, like for a long time I don't follow any kind of news, and for the past, I would say 3-4 months, I even stopped listening to the radio. And the reason of that is because there's the news that come like every hour, they have like a news updated, and I realized that sometimes like I'll get caught up on that piece of news that somehow resonated with me. And for that reason, it's like, you know what, not even to the radio I'm gonna listen anymore, because it's a way of programming your mind. It's a way of programming your mind with what's happening. And don't take me wrong, don't think that I just want to like to close my eyes and my ears for what's happening out there. It's not that. I think we are very aware of what's happening around the world. We do know that at the same time that the good happens, like what we categorize as bad also is happening. But it's how you want to feed your feeling or your emotions, because bottom line is everything that we read, that we listen to, that we exchange energy at somehow in some level, we are feeding the emotion that our body was programmed on. And if we are in this journey of reprogramming
or
who we are,
I could say our journey, like us, is evolving to a new.
Yeah, it is, but to evolving into a new version of yourself, you do need to like reprogram your beliefs. You do need to change your personality, borderline. And that's not even me. I'm not even saying that from the top of my head. That like some neuroscientists like Joe Dispenza, he basically says that. He says if you want to change your reality, you need to change who you are.
Exactly.
Changing who you are means changing your behavior, change what your body believes to be true, because there is an eternal fight between the memories that you hold in your body in your brain, because your brain is very aware of what's happening now, and then it's holding the past,
Exactly.
and it's also thinking the future is not being the present. But the past is no longer reality. The past does not exist.
Yeah.
The past is past.
But the memory is
But the
stored.
memory is there. It's stored. So what I realized with myself, that when you are on that consumption like state of consuming, like what the radio is putting on, what the TV is putting on, you are feeding those memories with you, and that's stopping you of growing, of evolving, of becoming the best version of yourself that you want to become, because you are those news are feeding those memories, is somehow keeping you there where you are.
Yeah, it's like again, it's awareness. Like I found that some people like to feed themselves with those feelings,
and they don't even know. And the reason for that is because they're addicted to it, but they don't even know.
Yes, like I'm a person, like I've noticed, like if I go down sad, for example, I'm like, why actually? I ask myself, why is it actually I'm sad for? What are actually the reasons? My face. Like, yeah. To look smart. No, I question myself because I notice that it is unconscious. Like we have in our body that we end up liking to feed things with the past, the storytelling of the mind. And then it's like, then I realize it's up to me whether I want to keep sad or not.
And it's always up to you. And I think that's what we forget, the free will, because that's the free will.
So how long do you want to keep it like on there?
And with that, you realize that you are addicted.
You are to that feeling.
To that feeling. But you don't even know that you're addicted to that feeling.
Yes.
You know, like for example, like you
think
eating
it is
like
normal.
Yeah, you overeat and you stuff yourself with food.
Like you did.
Like those days.
And then you start complaining
and then you
about
start complaining and feel guilt. You are addicted to the feeling of feel guilt.
Right.
And I just realized it now because my hubby cooked a delicious dinner and my friend both a delicious dinner. I could have choose between one and the other, but I wasn't aware that I had two options. So I started with one and then I realized that I had the other one. I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna eat both. And then I realized that I was like overeating because I didn't have to eat both. But both was so equally delicious that I had in both. I made the choice of eating both. And then just now at this moment, like as we are having this conversation, realize I might be addicted to the feeling of feeling guilt. Of eating, feeling guilt.
Yeah. So you use
and that's actually like true. Sometimes we are addicted to that emotion that comes after action.
You use the emotion as a motivation of continue.
Yeah.
And like, and then that's the reason creating awareness, which is the book I'm currently reading from Don Miguel about 5 levels of attachment, right?
Yeah, that book is really good. 5 levels of attachment.
You really learn to love yourself first, and then from that love, you choose to change rather than using feelings or fear as a motivation for change, because then you just kind of like creating a new personality rather than, you know,
because that's the motion, right? I think that's the motion for most of us in this earth population. We use the motivation and the emotion behind that motivation to achieve goals, to
and that was all fear-based.
Yeah, and most of it is like fear-based. Some of them is like fear of missing out, or fear of whoever's like has like a good financial state, like they're afraid of like losing everything and becoming poor. Or people that have a very hard like upbringing and they're like, I just don't want to go back there, you know, and somehow they still, or people that are like, I'm gonna be good parents because my parents was no good. So there's that fear behind that instead of like embrace my parents did the if that makes sense. I don't even know how we got here.
I was just wondering. I was like, okay, maybe she just needs some healing time, so I let her speak.
Sharing.
But when we come back to the collective belief, we
That was the
obviously
main topic for today.
yes. We go back obviously on history and a lot of the things we suppress. Like we're gonna touch base on the, or at least for my background, when we grew up in church or even in school, like you have to be good, you have to behave, and then you suppress a lot of who you are really, right? And you don't know how to deal with those emotions.
Yeah.
You shuffle them in.
Yeah.
And one of the discussion we had this week, like on our idea, we have what it means to be good, right? And then we constantly like becoming aware, obviously, of other people and also around and working and going to work a certain time, make sure you're there at the time, like complying with your time, working hours, right? And then you think that everything you're doing is good, right? Until suddenly something happened. Like in my case, I had a meeting that got called up to talk about my behavior, and I was like, "What?" Then you like you start to realize what it does really actually mean to be good. It's a totally different description. It doesn't matter. You can try to be as perfect as you want. That's what we unconsciously we are programmed to. We have this image of ourselves, what means to be what means to learn, and then we kind of create this whole image and we're trying to I guess live up to it, right? And obviously if we do something outside of that, what we don't believe what means to be us, obviously you have the whole emotion triggers, right? And that causes a lot of discomfort. But I feel like it does show when we get the situations where we like think we're doing everything perfect, everything good, being the most loving person, and then suddenly something happened and you realize really we are living in an illusion that what actually means to be good and what actually to be.
I have an example of that. Like I grew up in a Catholic family, so I grew up like inside of Catholic church. Like I couldn't be more inside than this. So it's part of like the youth. I was part of the youth group within the Catholic Church. So the youth group, like, is basically like the group of teenagers, where we sit together to study like parts of the Bible, and then we are taught how to have like a saint's life and do everything to please God. And that's how you were raised to be. Anything that you do outside of that, you're not doing only God unhappy, but you're also doing the family unhappy and the neighbors unhappy.
The whole community.
Like you bring shame to your family. Anything that you do that outside of that.
So you want to avoid.
So you had to avoid that, it's very hard. But with that, I remember like a simple example like that. I have many, so I've had so many like things that happened that I could share with you all. But there is this example that I remember that the mass finished and we used like to participate in the mass as well and organize and after tied up and close the church and everyone walked back home. And one of those days, like we met one colleague like from high school that she was also coming back from her church, but her head church was the opposite church, the enemies. It's the Protestants. And what's that church that's very famous in Brazil that now runs?
So funny, like
what's the one that was very famous?
The enemy against church type.
Because we are Catholics, right? So we Catholics and we were like with the community.
Protestants,
to do all the work of the community. And the old Protestant from the Channel 7, Luigi Macedo. Luigi Macedo, it's a Protestant, it's like they are worldwide, like they're very big. And she was also very active on that community, on the Protestant community, on her church, So she was coming back and we met. She's like, "Oh, what are you doing?" She had some brushes. How do you call brushes? Those pins that you put on clothes from her church. And she gave him one. She was like, "Oh, we just come back from my church." Like, so am I. That's why we are everyone here. Here we go, one pin, put it. I was like, "Okay, put the pin on my shirt." When my crew from my church saw that I was wearing that pin from the Protestant church from NGM, I said, "Oh my God, the word ended." To me, was like, what kind of Catholic are you? Like, how can you proudly put that in your shirt, like a stamp you just walked out from a Catholic church, Like, who truth are you speaking? Are you speaking all truth or their truth?
I have a
You
Brazilian
can't be
very
proud.
in everything, even
It
football.
was like, I remember trying to defend myself, saying that I accepted the pin from a friend that was very happy leaving her services and offering one pin, and I saw nothing bad in putting that pin on my shirt, because to me, we all serving like one God, and that was not accepted. Anything that I would have tried to say was not very acceptable, never like was bad. And I remember even looking at my cousin and being like, I don't understand why. And even my cousin was just like, sort of like saying to me that what I was doing was not really right. How could I not understand? And I don't take it off. I just like, because I remember there was the way to home, and we used to be like living each and their own home until the last one, because it was one way to go. And I remember they all left my house, and I went home and like very sad, feeling like suppressed, because somehow I failed on the expectations, on what I was supposed to represent. But that this is one of the examples that today I look at it and just say like how limited everyone was, because I can easily remember the feeling that I had when she gave me. But the funny thing is, like, if I'm being very honest, was that I knew that would cause what
Deep
caused.
inside.
I knew it.
When we do
When she
something,
gave-
we
we
always
know.
know.
So
something.
when she gave it to me, and I even remember her name was Kelly. When Kelly was with dog, I'm like, finish church, finish where you coming from. And we both excited. She was like, oh, I have a few pins from my church. I was like, oh yeah, nice, give it to me.
Deep inside your
And she was
devil was
she was so
talking.
happy. And I knew when I was putting, because I went there to show them. I knew
So
that
we
would
all
cause the
have a
revolution.
devil inside, so we can
So-
pretend as much as you want.
So, maybe I just want to cause, because today, if I'm being honest, like I don't have a flag of any church or anything like that, because I don't believe on that. So maybe even back then I was already manifest myself today. That's how I like to see it.
No, I do feel like every thing we do, reaction, we know that it's gonna have a reaction. We know, like deep inside, we know.
No,
Even
I knew it. If I'm being
Yeah.
very honest, when I look back, like I remember that feeling, I knew it. I knew it would cause a falling out, because that's what happened. And people like do quite strong on the words, like how dare you? What
yeah,
God are you
and-
serving? I was like, but isn't the same God? You know what we mean. And I was like, okay,
So, and then when you think about it, like, because there's a lot of things suppressed within us. And I talk about even like sex. No, I was thinking in this, just driving away here, like, in my life, that I can recall back, once that I can say I had a really good sex. And for reason being, this only one time, it was because I really had no expectation whatsoever. I was completely me, like, and the other times it's almost like I want to please the other person, or feel ashamed, thinking that I'm doing something wrong, because it comes all the emotions that you grow up with those beliefs from the church. And I wonder
I
sometimes.
think the thing is only from the church. It's like today is embedded in the society,
And even the
Some
body
societies
shame.
are a little bit more progress on it, but some society like I can
I
see.
don't. I think we transfer the shame from the church from shame to body now.
Yeah.
The feeling of shame before, it was like being from the church that we couldn't have this free of sex with people.
You know
And
how
now I
that
think
started?
now I think it just transferred that feeling to now because you know how we trans.
So that's connected to the story of the woman in history. That is connected to the story of how the system worked to silence the woman in history. Like, so they want to put a woman, to portray woman like saints, like image saints, like Mary,
the
Catholic,
perfect
and all of
one.
this.
Okay.
And that's why they even connect all menstrual cycles to be something sacred, you know, like for example, I can go back to my studies because to be honest, like I studied this like a few years ago and I can't remember on top of my mind now. I have like a vague memories of it, but that's how they start to introduce the idea in the society that we women, like we were supposed to be perceived as sainted. We have to be sainted. We have to protect our cycles, menstrual cycles, like knowing that other people cannot know when we having our cycles, you know, and therefore we have to get married as a virgin because of the virgin marries and not be like Madalena, you know, and was like a combination of main power with the mains in church, like you know, and combined they because they were like the force of like in terms of dictating what was right and was wrong in society. And that's why they implement those beliefs in society, and the society just absorb it, and that was passed on like year after year, generations after generations. And that's why we as women grow up like with our emotions, our desires, and everything else suppressed, thinking that everything we do is wrong. Like I remember that I had like one long time boyfriend in Brazil. That was like, I think it was like 10 years of relationship. I think we started dating when I was 16 and we finished when I was 10. He was like my first only boyfriend in Brazil. And I remember when I lost my virginity to him, there was a scandal. It was a big scandal. And the suppressant, you know, the woman soft that you're like, now you have to get married. Or now you should be ashamed of yourself. Whether for men, society doesn't really treat men like that, right? Because to men it's like, oh, you are a guy, you are a man.
Like that's back in Brazil, right? Like I don't know how it is now, but back it is.
I think it's still the same.
I would say like people would still talk if, let's say, a man would cheat on a wife, for example.
Yeah.
But the wife is still at home. He will still come back home. Then you're like, I don't know. I like, again, there's no right or wrong. We judge based on what desires are, but really we don't have control of anything. If you're gonna get be cheated or not cheated, like, you know. But if people wanna talk, they're gonna talk, right? And I just found in the sense of like how we deal with our own emotions within. Like obviously you don't want to go and have sex and feel ashamed of yourself for having sex, which is something that you're natural.
I don't think you should be ashamed of any decision that you are doing, conscious doing.
Yeah.
And you know that you're not harming anyone else. Because I think shame is when you sit on a dining table like with your family and you talking like very bad words about the neighbor's daughter, for example. I think that's something to be ashamed of.
This is to your belief, right? Some people think that's normal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's according to my belief. Because you know what the neighbor's daughter is doing has nothing to do with my life.
How do we get into the neighbors?
Has nothing to do with my family's life. You know what I'm saying? But that's just an example. I just think like I think that when you are sitting there feeling shame of if you had sex or whatever happened, I think sit deeper because that emotion will connect you to something else.
Oh, for sure. That's what I do here, right? Because you want to be free from, to be who you are. Like you love yourself and you should be enjoying life, right?
I think shame, for example, is you say, oh, this person's my friend. And then behind that person back be talking, oh, she's this, she's that, calling her names, you know. Or say, oh, this person my friend, and then get together with other people that is your friend or family and be saying horrible things about that person, but in front of that person, like, hi, we are
I'm
friends.
sure there's a
To
lot
me,
of people.
those things are shameful, but hey.
It's still, you shouldn't feel shame at all for anything for being homo. I don't know. But
I have a big sense of justice, so.
yes, it's a strong beliefs on it. But yeah, this is a lot of the collective that we hold within, and I found that if we don't work through them, we end up either like exploding at some point, or causing big dramas, or we go and like talk bad about the people because we don't know what to do with those emotions, right? And those emotions reflect is a mirror. What's it within, and it is like a lot of them is not very easy to deal with, but I found that
I don't think any
Express-
emotion is easy to deal with,
No.
you know. But I think that when you take accountability, when you stop and think like, why I'm feeling this, and you see that the problem is you, is inside of you, is not external.
yeah,
That's a big step. You know? And for we all, when you look like from the outside, from the above, maybe for God, it's like that's just life happening.
It's
You
just
know,
a play.
this big,
Just have
big
fun.
voice, so.
Just have a joyful life. Why are you worrying too much?
Now, according to, see, that's another belief, because how can you say for someone like in the middle of favela there in Rocinha, saying that he's suffering like all sorts of like violence, you say, hey, this is just a big play, just have
I don't
fun.
know what they experience. How it's
No,
supposed
exactly.
to. They might be enjoying the chill.
That's your perception.
I don't know, but exactly how
That's
I'm
your,
gonna
but
put
exactly, that's your perception.
You know,
We can't assume that all true is the truth.
I'm gonna cry.
I'll say for you to cry.
I don't. I'm saying joy.
Just
like-
say that even when we say life is fun, that's just like
Maybe
that's
he's
what
having
you
fun?
have your awareness that
Yeah.
that's your perception. It's not others.
No, let's say back. Let's say when we first arrived in New Zealand, right? If you think about it, we were unconscious, but we were having fun. All the dramas, at the restaurants. Come on, that was fun. Pierre. I'm joking. Look at her eyes in the corner. That's a long time.
I'm sorry, guys. Anna has no maturity to be doing this podcast today. So
We all have something that we want to hide under the carpet. Oh god.
I don't know if it's like hide, but I would say that it's the best. So there is, it's not part of my present. So just right.
It's funny. But it is like when I think about it, like what happened in the past was like, how did they behave? How I used to behave. I was a rebelled. But anyway, I think I feel like always I've got a little devil inside of it. We all do. What else I'd like to touch base on? One thing I've noticed, which works for me. Hopefully, my work for whoever is watching this is like when I'm doing my day, I'll observe some sort of behaviors of like avoiding certain situations or even lie sometimes. As soon as you acknowledge to yourself your own behavior without any judgment or without trying to blame anything, just acknowledge yourself. I lied because I did not know how to answer the question that they asked me. I trying to cover, instead of saying like I don't know, I created a story, right? So I feel like when I learned to be honest with myself that I did it without judgment, because this is like unconscious behavior, there is an instant healing. And other thing I notice, like when I'm thinking and I notice is a self-sabotage thought, if I say aloud to myself, oh, this is a self-sabotage. It straight away happens healing as well. So it's just like for you that out there that's listening and watching this, if you observe yourself and then your feelings on your body, and then you see that you kind of react some way in a situation, and straight away if you acknowledge that to yourself you did, it does a healing. So it's not something that you have to go and down and meditate. I was doing that like daily, going meditate, and I ever played the movie to myself while I was laying down and recognize my behaviors. But now if I instantly doing it and straight away after I acknowledge, it happens a healing. Because you're bringing your unconscious behavior to conscious, like a conscious mind, and then it straight away it's like bringing from the dark to a light, and then straight away just having a healing. So it is like if you are living a present moment and observing yourself, if you want to change your behavior, not wanting to, having to pretend and be someone else, having to lie, or if you want to kind of stop that behavior, it is acknowledging to yourself. Otherwise, it just keep happening. You keep doing it and you wonder why I'm still doing it. If you don't do the healing, you're still gonna behave the same
No,
way.
I think that if you don't bring to your awareness,
Yeah.
and you don't recognize what you're doing, if you don't recognize the pattern, how would you know what's happening? You know, and therefore you keep it happening.
And like at the same
Because
now
you just like
you brought awareness
know.
to yourself that you like the feeling guilty.
Yeah.
Just by acknowledging that, you're already doing a healing, because you're becoming aware of your own behavior and why, investigating why, and there's always like a juicy at the bottom there. Why are you doing that? Because like let's say in my case, I lied instead of saying like I don't know, I'll find out the answer. I was like, oh no, yeah, just do that, because I didn't want to look silly. So I was running away from that feeling of feeling silly that I shouldn't know, and to look like I'm intelligent, or so it's kind of like running from some sort of feeling, because most of us have kind of a core belief like to be somebody. Like we grow up in a society that it is kind of driven for be somebody, earn money, have a position. So you in like unconscious, you already like if you go to an interview or something that you are really interested to, you're already shaping yourself on your like limited perception. I'm gonna be the best, I'm gonna talk all the, you created the whole scenario, the whole role, right?
I don't know, I think that's again like belief perception. Because for example, like if I talk from my own experiences, like I know that every time that I was going for an interview, I never thought of like I want to be the best. Or
I mean, not best
the
to other
others,
people,
because I didn't even know who was competing
no.
against me.
I mean, for
But
yourself.
I always like put a pressure on me to be like, how can I answer those questions? What question will I be asked? Like, and then you always like get to like this phase like pre-interview to study, to make sure that you can cover all the questions that you are
But
asked.
then I question this stuff, because at the same time you want to know about the company, or you're interested to work for them. It's almost like are you wanting to know whether they welcome you? Like sometimes
So
you're trying to.
I don't question that. No, I don't, because you know what, like, and that's pretty much like in every book of spirituality that you read, it's gonna tell you that you need to learn how to evolve and how to live in society. If you are applying for a job with that specific company, there is a reason for that. Like you can just apply with this saying, so your emotion cannot be like, your motivation cannot be like, I just run away from where I am now to where going everywhere, anywhere. Because then you're gonna land anywhere, you're gonna be on the same position again. Like, I don't want to be here. But now, if you are like involving, because not everyone that involved in spirituality is gonna be working with spirituality. There are people that they're involving and they are like working as engineers or whatever, or neuroscientists, and then there are projects that they have. There are things that they wanna do. They will study that thing so they can do it. So I think that's normal, and I think that's learning how to live in society. I don't think I don't know. I think that it's a limiting belief that you are creating.
No, I was trying to explain. You didn't really listen what I'm saying, because before, like I was going to interview, I was not worried about what the company had to offer me, what kind of what task I'll be doing, what would my day tasks are. You would go for the position and the money. So that's what I'm saying. Like then you go to the interview, you have this whole, yes, I've done this, I know this, you express yourself what your knowledge are. But I was never interested in actually knowing, okay, how is the company work? What does it mean to have 40 hours, or how does it mean, what is the flexibility, or because there is so much more broad.
But do you think that's part of the human evolution? Because before COVID, none of us have this thing of flexibility.
Yes.
It's happened because of COVID. And a few years ago, none of us have that thing of because we applying for jobs, and we trying to get the job and show the company that we were good enough for them have us.
Yes, yeah.
But now change it, because now we have to serve both sides. We need to know that the company will be good for us, that the environment will be good for us, or what you're looking for. So I think that is part of
it's amazing.
Everyone involved.
Because then I started to know, it's do I really want, I started to really question what is the daily tasks, be involved. Because a lot of the engineering company, for example, they sell a lot of it's a multi-millionaire projects, and then you'll be doing this. I'm like, okay, there's a lot of money involved, but really what
is in there for you?
Yeah, so that's what I was trying to get. It's not
okay.
Yeah, I was before how I used to think about getting a job, molding myself to be the perfect match for the company, read all the things, know everything, all the answers. And now I'm like, okay, it's a conversation where I can be who I am and express myself, and whether they are who they are and they express themselves, and then if match is a match, So that we have a lot of, if you're not I feel like if you're not aware, you're doing that. Even relationships, I found that if you think of someone as a potential partner, for example, you're already thinking of you want to be the best, right? You want to be on your mind is what is it the best really? It's for that person, probably it's not even not knowing or acknowledging that, because probably being the best means something else to that person. So then it's changing the perspective and no, I am already perfect who I am now, and then I express myself true to myself, and then if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. But it was a lot of work until I got to this stage where I learned to connect with my truth and express it. It's a freedom to be honest with myself, instead of having to say things that are not actually true to me, and living a life where to maybe please others, that we might not even be pleasing others. We might lie to ourselves that we're pleasing. So, because we don't know what the other person is thinking, or the other person's beliefs are, so it's becoming aware what I believe. So we tend to look for things, for clues based on our belief, and it kind of blinds us, right? So the communication, knowing your feelings, communicate them is very important to create the awareness between yourself and the other person, because there's no way we could ever know what the other person
is thinking.
So much drones, right? I feel like when we become aware, I also trying to bring this awareness to other people as well. Continue behaving the same way, you're gonna get the same response from outside. There's no other way, right? If you continue saying yes all the time, the person's gonna come to ask you because you continue saying yes. To become aware of what your behavior is and trying to challenge a little bit your behaviors. The simple no's, or simple I'm leaving early from job work today. Because believe it or not, it is sometimes a challenge thing to ask to leave earlier for the job, right? Even calling sick sometimes is challenging, right? Yeah. It's
I
fascinating.
would say that.
I know, we have so much beliefs, like from Brazil, that's it's sometimes it's a lot of fear. Sometimes you even call sick. Maybe here in New Zealand, because it seems like a very normal thing to call sick.
Yeah.
But back in home, if you call, like in Brazil, if you call sick, you need to go to the doctor, get a certificate to prove that you're actually sick. So it was like a whole process. So you wouldn't call sick. So
Unless you're really sick.
yes.
Because you'd go to work. Even if you're sick, you'd go to work.
Yes.
Unless you're like really sick, could not get out of bed. That's when you'd be like.
Yeah. Otherwise, you lose, I don't know, the days of work, and you lose your food ticket.
But yeah, you'd like calling sick and not going to work was really like exceptions, really like in extreme cases. Yeah, I cannot even remember if I did that in New Zealand.
And then they say, like, sometimes I was like, why did I choose? Because they say you choose where you're gonna be born, you choose your parents, and then I have all this belief, and I'm like, why?
No, and they even say like you even choose like to reincarnate, like you go.
What?
It's like.
And then and that's one of the other things that
would I have chosen.
Exactly. I found that spirituality is very fascinating because there's no one else to blame, right? You can
But yourself because you chose it.
Yeah, so you just like, if you're crying about life, you're like complaining, you're just like, wow, you have a choice there. Or you just excuse the word right now, but or you kill yourself, which it wouldn't matter, you would probably come back again. Or you try to make the most of your life, right? You get to a point where it's like, what do I have to lose, really? Nothing. So you might as well live your life. Let's be wild, guys. And then when it comes to Hermana, obviously we trying to grow a community, and well, it is also a challenge, but we try not to make it a challenge. We're trying to make it fun, because why would you want to suffer?
It's the fun. For some people, that's the fun. For some people, like like it's so like complicated. That's when like empathy comes.
I guess some people like the thrill,
because that's when empathy comes and play the card, because you have to be empathic that the older people, like we all like built in different way. If for some people like the precision of like the camera and the focus of that's what brings them the joy. For some people like doing a canvas, like I said, that's what brings them the joy. Some
this brings me joy.
Yeah.
Holding on to certain beliefs just cause stress or anger, and like I want to say, maybe some people have fun with those feelings. I personally don't.
Yeah.
I
think that this sentence here explains very well, because so the collective awakening isn't about changing others. It's about raising our own consciousness, because we are the collective. And I think they say it's not about like even questioning why the others do what they do or how that can bring joy to the other people, because everyone is their own, and it's about raising our own conscience, like find your own joy on things, because we are the collective.
And I found joy now in evolving to become free from my own boundaries, I guess.